Okay, so today I'm going to do the third chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. It is authored and translated into English by Dr. P. Ramachandra Shekhar, and it's very nicely written. So I'm going to do chapter 3. Chapter 3 is Karma Yogaha. Arjuna said, O Krishna, if in your opinion the knowledge is superior to action, why then do you engage me, Arjuna, in this terrible action? You are bewildering my understanding by contradictory teaching. Kindly clarify and tell me with certainty what would be beneficial for me. The Blessed Lord said, in the beginning of creation, O sinless Arjuna, twofold path of devotion was given by me to the world. The path of knowledge of the men of contemplation and understanding, and the path of action of the yogis. By neither non-performance of work can one attain freedom from action, nor one can attain perfection by mere renunciation. So you can't be a renunciate also to get freedom. And you can't do non-performance of work also. No one can be free from action even for a moment, because the forces of the gunas will compel him to act according to the mental propensities, that is prakriti nature. So the three gunas is sattva, rajas and tamas. He who superficially restrains the organs of actions but is mentally attached to sensual pleasures and desires it is a hypocrite. O Arjuna, he who, restraining the mind unattached, engages in path of action through the organs of action is a superior man. So basically doing the actions but not being attached to the outcomes, and having a control over the, not having a control over the senses, because that's also hypocritical. As Shirdi Sai Baba has said, the self reveals itself to the self, to the person. For those who get self-realization, according to the Sai Satcharitra, he says the self reveals itself, it reveals itself, and that's God's grace. You should perform all the obligatory actions. It is superior to not performing any action at all. You cannot maintain even the physical body if the legitimate actions are not performed. All the actions are source of bondage, except those which are performed for sake of yagna. O son of Kunti, perform all the actions dedicated to yagna, God, and remain unattached to the results therein. The Creator, Prajapati, having in the beginning created the mankind together with yajna, spirit of sacrifice, or yagna, I call it yagna, ordained, may you progress through these actions. This shall be the the cow fulfiller of all the desires. You cherish the devas by acts of yagna that please them, and the devas cherish you in return. That way, both attain a higher good. The devas cherished the yagnas shall confer physical pleasures upon you. One who doesn't share his pleasure with God is considered to be a thief. So that is why people say stay in gratitude for whatever you have. The virtuous people share and eat whatever is left after performance of yagna and hence are sinless. So in short, when you are eating something, if you first offer it to God, thank Him for it, offer it to whoever your deity is, that's a better way of doing things. Along with it, some amount of charity of food is also good. Selfish people are those who prepare and eat themselves without sharing, and they acquire sin. The evolution of beings is from food. From rain the food is produced. From yagna does rain arise, and the yagna is born of karma, ritualistic actions. The karma is risen from the Vedic wisdom, and the Vedas have originated from the imperishable Lord Himself. Hence, the all-pervading Vedas are firmly established in the yagnas, sacrificed deeds. One who does not follow the scheme of nature started by Prajapati and lives a life engrossed in the pursuit of sensual pleasures lives his life frankly in vain. He is superior and has nothing to do. Who is devoted to Atmic bliss is content in wisdom of Atma and is ever absorbed in the Atma. Like our Shirdi Sai Baba, while he was alive, he was constantly within himself. He was always inward looking. A wise man has nothing to gain by performance of actions, nor has anything to lose by non-performance of it. He seeks shelter in the Atma and has no dependence on anyone for any object. Therefore, always perform your obligatory action without ego or attachment. One can attain the Atmic bliss just by doing so. Verily, with actions alone, King Janaka and others attained the perfect state, performed without attachment and ego. Hence, you should perform actions not with a selfish motive but for good of others and to set an example. Whatsoever the wise men perform, others also do the same. Whatever example the wise sets, others follow the footsteps. O Partha, there is no work as such for me to do in all the three worlds, nor is there any unattained desire that I have to fulfill by my action. Yet I am ever engaged in action. O Partha, if I am not continuously engaged in action with relaxation, others too in every respect would follow the same path. The worlds would be ruined if I do not perform action. I would become the cause of admixture of races and destruction of beings. O Arjuna, the ignorant work attached to results and filled with ego, whereas the wise act unattached for the guidance of the world. The wise one should not disengage the ignorant from action thought done with attachment. He should engage the ignorant in all work, be himself steadily acting and thus setting an example of selfless action. All the actions are done by the gunas of nature. The The ignorant conceives himself to be the doer of action, Atma, clouded by egoism. The mighty armed, a man of true wisdom and who has true insight into actions and gunas, understands that sensual pleasures are functions of sense organs only, and thus doesn't get entangled in these bondages. The ignorant, whose intellect is misguided, are attached with gunas strongly, hence, a wise man should not unsettle the attachment of the ignorant people from the world suddenly. So it is not wise to throw ideas at people and force them to, get into different states which are considered more profitable action, more godly action. The self reveals itself when the time is right to every individual. Every individual is on their own journey. There is a God that gives the birth. That God knows what the individual soul journey is and appropriately gives the birth. What the individual does with the birth is that individual's destiny. If the destiny of the individual is somehow God's grace falls on it, he will automatically or she'll automatically get some guidance. So one just actually trusts the higher power. And when it comes to individuals, follow the way it's given to us. So don't go grabbing things that are not yours, is my understanding. Be content with what comes our way, without really talking about the law of manifestation, law of attraction, and then, creating situations, manipulating situations. I think that is very different from, let's say, something that fate brings our way, destiny brings our way, is meant for us. Surrender all actions unto me and fix the mind in Atma. Get rid of desires and selfishness and fight the battle. The devoted who practice the teaching of mine with full Shraddha, faith, and are free from jealousy, are relaxed from the bondage of action. Those who, due to preconceived jealousy, do not practice the teaching, become deluded in their knowledge and devoid of discrimination, hence get ultimately ruined. Even a wise man acts in accordance with his own selfless nature, and so does the ignorant according to the forces of nature. Then what purpose does restraint from actions serve? Attachment and aversion are but natural for the senses towards the respective objects. Hence, a wise man should not come under the influence. The attachment and aversion are verily his enemies. So it is being content, genuinely detached from the soul when it comes to outcomes, but doing one's dharma and let life happen to you rather than forcing things, is what I understand. Personal obligation, swadharma, though imperfect, is better than the impersonal obligation, paradharma, perfectly done. It is better to die while fulfilling obligations of personal duty than to survive in another person's obligation. Arjuna said, impelled by what, O Varshneya, does a man commit sin much against his conscience, as if there is a greater force impelling him to commit the sin? The blessed Lord said, it is desire, anger born of the Rajoguna, which is the Rajasic I would say Rajasic, which causes the sin. Anger and lust is all devouring and all sinful. Know it to be the enemy. As fire is enveloped by smoke, dust covers the mirror, and onion covers the embryo, so is the knowledge engulfed by desire. The knowledge is enveloped by a constant enemy of the wise men, the infernal desire which is unappeasable, O son of Kunti. The sense organs, mind and intelligence are the seats of desire that covers the wisdom, and through these seats of desire it deludes the ignorant. Therefore, O best of Bharatas, control the senses at the outset and regulate the function, and then destroy the desire, the sinful, the destroyer of wisdom and realization. Senses are superior and subtler than the body, the mind superior to the senses, the intellect superior to the mind, and he, the Atma, is most superior and more superior than the intellect, compared to the intellect. Thus, O Arjuna, endowed with strong arms, know the Atma to be much superior than the intellect. Restrain your senses by the wisdom of the self, and destroy the enemy, which is desire, which is unseizable. And this is the last part of the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita.